Well, hey guys, we're back in Oddfellows Rest Cemetery in Aberdeen today for the third or fourth time, but this place is so full of interesting historical characters that we decided to come do one more. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Colonel Peyton Thompson Manning. And frankly, no, he's not any kin, at least not as far as I can find, to the Peyton Manning, the retired NFL quarterback. This Peyton Manning served on General Longstreet's staff. From Longstreet's initial command at 1st Manassas, he sought and found talented and loyal men to serve on his staff. It is said that he had perhaps the finest staff of any subordinate commander in the Army. Longstreet made his first appointments to his staff before he left Richmond for Manassas Junction. The day after he accepted his brigadiership, he appointed 2nd Lieutenant Peyton T Manning as Ordnance Officer. Manning was 23 years old. He was a native of Alabama, but was living here in Mississippi at the Civil War's outbreak. Longstreet may have known Manning's parents before 1861 because Dr. George Manning lived in Huntsville, where Longstreet's mother lived. Manning attended the Georgia Military Institute in Marietta in 1859. Manning was not very intimidating physically. He is listed as 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighing 125 pounds. He was commonly described as being little, but with a quick, clear mind. He must have had a mean streak because while at the Georgia Military Institute, he stabbed a fellow student following an altercation, severely wounding that student. His actions must have been justified because he was not dismissed from school. Manning was Longstreet's ordnance officer, and it's said that if he had a weakness, it was his fondness for fast horses that he rode across the countryside, risking life and limb by jumping ditches and fences with abandon. But no other member of the staff had the education and training that Manning had. One time Longstreet praised Manning for carrying a regimental flag during an attack and personally killing 3 enemy soldiers. Oh, I forgot. It was in fact Manning that delivered the orders that sent the Washington Light Artillery into battle for the first time. Peyton Manning was definitely part of James Longstreet's inner circle. During the Battle of Chickamauga, a shell fragment grazed Manning's scalp, and he began gasping for breath. Fellow officers rushed to his aid. Of course, they thought that he had been mortally wounded. He was instead choking on a piece of potato that he had bitten off just before the shell burst. Someone removed it, and Manning revived quickly. In a friendly fire incident during the Wilderness Campaign, Longstreet was wounded, and his right arm was hanging limp at his side. He had been struck in the throat by a bullet that passed through his shoulder and severed nerves. Peyton Manning and 2 other officers lifted the general gently from the saddle and lay him against a tree. Later, when Longstreet returned to the Army, one of his lieutenants, Francis Dawson, was appointed Chief of Ordnance in the Cavalry Division of Fitzhugh Lee. Dawson knew the Ordnance Department because he served under Peyton Manning, the only one of Longstreet's staff he ever liked. Manning obviously lived through many historical events and served during many battles while being part of General Longstreet's staff. He was Longstreet's chief of ordnance during the Maryland campaign, and he helped man one of the guns of the Washington artillery at the center of the line at Sharpsburg. Anywhere Longstreet was, well, Peyton Manning was as well. Like I said, he had been in Antietam, Gettysburg. He was wounded at Chickamauga. But for me, one of the most interesting places he served was the Battle of Fort Sanders. Fort Sanders is located, well, generally where the University of Tennessee is located today. General Longstreet bid his staff farewell on April the 12th, 1865, but visited once again with Manning before New Year's Day of 1866. Manning died just a short time later and was buried here in Aberdeen during 1868. Well, I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about Colonel Peyton Manning today. Thank you.